My name is Terri Skeie, and I've been teaching math here at LCC for 23 years. Boot camps are available for students that, for any student. And if a student takes a placement test and they're not happy with where they place, say they place in the 78 and they've already had all their algebra in high school, and maybe they didn't meet the requirements for the direct placement that we have, they can go to a boot camp. They're generally offered toward the end of a quarter, sometimes finals week, it just depends. And then they can use that for the next quarter, use that placement. We also have an online boot camp that they can sign up for and do whenever they're ready. So they can do that sooner, so they don't have to wait until that finals week. And in there, they get all the material that they would need. There are little videos. It's using MyMathLab, so they get a jump start on how MyMathLab works. And then they can go take the placement test again. And if they go through a boot camp, they don't have to pay anything to take it again. All boot camps are free. They can sign up online for the face-to-face boot camp, and I believe they can sign up online for the online boot camp, but they usually do that through the placement office when they take their test. Most of the people we have haven't had a class yet. And sometimes we get students that just want to brush up and they're already placed. They just come in for fun because it's fun. Just tell yourself that. We do have a pre-college sequence where all of our courses are split into 3 credits and 2 credits. And most students will sign up for all 5, and it is just like a typical class that starts the first day, ends on the last day. But sometimes when students are not doing well, they'll drop the last 2, and they just focus on the 3 credits. It also gives students that are in an online environment the opportunity to take fewer courses and to spread it out over a little more time. But most of the time, students are signing up for all 5. If a student is enrolled in a 78, 88, or a 98 class and they haven't finished the first 2 units, so there are 3 units in each of those classes, the same as the number of credits. If they haven't successfully finished 2 of the units by week 6, they are moved into College 74, which is a 2-credit class that would replace their 79, 89, or 99. And they're still responsible for finishing up the 8 course, but it gives them a little more time to focus on those 3 credits so they can finish it. And then in College 74, they're going to learn about effective study habits, how to use homework effectively, how to prepare for an exam, how to deal with math anxiety, how to stay organized, making note cards, all kinds of study skills that a lot of them don't have. It also helps them learn about time management and all those things. So essentially the goal is to give them those habits that they need to get them through the 8 course successfully. And then that way they don't lose the 2 credits and have problems with financial aid. We let them know well in advance. It's in the syllabus. Most of the instructors are emailing regularly. And then as soon as that day hits, then we give the registrar the list and they enroll them in the College 74, which is all online. And it's all through Canvas. So they just start that next Monday when they would have normally started the 79. So we designed the Math 8797 class for non-STEM majors because it moves them a little bit faster through the pre-college courses. They would go straight from Math 79 to the 8797, which then is the bridge to Math 107, statistics, and math for elementary teachers. And it's a 6-credit course, all done in 1 quarter. It is not available online. It is every day. They sometimes get confused because it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday for 50 minutes, and then Tuesday and Thursday are both 2 hours and 15 minutes. That way we have a lab time, so it's considered a lab course. And in that course, I always call it sort of an algebra light. It's heavy on conceptual ideas, and we even cover some of the content that they're going to see in statistics and math and society. So it's a much better bridge for the students that are headed in that direction. Now, if they do end up going the STEM path and they have to take pre-calculus, they'll have to take a little step back so they get some more of the algebra that they need. But it's a great path, and it's our highest success course for students that are non-STEM. If in doubt, like sometimes advisors aren't sure if they should send students through the non-STEM path or the STEM path. Students should be contacting the school that they're going to transfer to, because occasionally there's a problem or a specific school says, no, we absolutely want an intermediate algebra prerequisite. We aren't seeing a lot of that, but it might be something that they should think about, making sure the student contacts the school they're transferring to. Just unfortunately, they don't always know where they're going to go or what program. They haven't decided yet. So it's kind of hard. There will be students that no matter how well we advise them, they're going to end up having to take a step back because they changed their mind. There's just no way around that. All students should be encouraged to go to the tutoring center or to the MAC anytime they're struggling. If they haven't had any experience using computers in the past, they need to be in there immediately on the very first day, because they will be all doing homework in MyMathLab. So all their homework is done online. And until they get into some of the higher courses, like maybe a statistics course or 107, they're going to be using MyMathLab. All students in pre-college and a lot of the college level courses will be using MyMathLab, and they can get that code, and it's just a code. They don't have to buy a book, but they will have to buy a new code as soon as they get to a college level course. So they're working with one that starts in math 50 and goes through 99. They don't have to buy it again, so it's kind of nice. When they log in, they actually have 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks, it depends on the quarter, that they can do a temporary access. So if you have students that are waiting for financial aid or if they're on some sort of a special program, they can get started right away. There's no reason at all to wait. So they can do the pay later option, and then it's like 2 or 3 weeks later they have to enter the code. We're finding right now that it's actually a little cheaper to buy the code in the bookstore, so send them that way to get their codes. And it should be good all the way through, like I said, pre-college, so they don't have to buy another one. And then they'll have to buy one for whatever college level course. They will absolutely need to have internet at home, and fairly decent internet. So if they don't have access to a computer and internet, then they might need to figure out a schedule where they can get stuff done on campus. But that's just something that everybody uses, so they're going to have that available. When they sign up, they need to make sure they pay attention to what type of course they're signed up for, so whether or not they're in a classroom. If it's a P section or a DE section, those are actually run the same. Those are both through the Math Achievement Center, and they're going to be working on their own, but there are requirements for attendance, and they can do fully online. They can take tests through ProctorU, but there's an additional fee. So students that are taking classes in the Math Achievement Center are pretty much on their own, but they can certainly come in and get all the help they need if they come in during the time that we're open. We run them exactly the same, but the P section enables the students that are not allowed to take online to still take the course. They can come in every day, but if they're enrolled in DE, I don't think that works for veterans, and there's some other program, so they can still sign up for P. DE sounds like they can do everything online, and they can do the tests and everything, but P is really the same thing. We used to have a face-to-face requirement, but we weren't finding that was making students any more successful, because now we have that weekly check-in. They have to fill out how many hours they spent watching the videos, doing their homework, all those things. So it's really the same. So if one's full, just sign up for the other one. And they can even sign up for like 78DE, 79P. It really doesn't matter. It's easier for us if it's the same, but it doesn't matter. If you have a student that is brand new, we always recommend that they spend time in a classroom rather than taking an online course. It's also really important to emphasize that taking it online does not make it easier. It will not take less time. So if they're doing it because they have 2 full-time jobs and 3 children, they should be reminded that it still takes quite a bit of time. They have to learn the material on their own. They have to go through the videos and the guided notebooks. They have to come take their exams. So it is very time consuming. And it's also recommended that if they're newer to the college, that maybe they just sign up for 3 credits or 2 credits so they can see how it goes. That way they don't lose all 5 credits if they struggle from the beginning. If a student has a lot of math anxiety, then it's actually best to put them in a classroom. So they have a teacher that's helping them every day. They're lecturing at the board. They're giving them that support they need, rather than putting them in an online class where they're pretty much on their own, unless they're good about coming in. Students really do need a teacher that can basically hold their hand, help them out, and encourage them. And they also build that camaraderie with their classmates, and sometimes that's really valuable. So please encourage them to take it in a classroom if at all possible. So our first changes coming soon. Math 50 is going away. Anyone that places in the Math 50 will be taking their courses through Adult Basic Ed, and then they can transition back. And Math 78, 79 will be changing to Model 87, 97 course. So it will become a 6-credit course. And they will also meet daily with the longer days on Tuesday, Thursday, so they have time to do a lot of activities and group work and so on. So we're going to be restructuring how that course works, and that should be rolling out in the fall, perhaps in the summer. And then later next year, we're going to be changing the 88, 89, 98, 99 pathway so that the students that are STEM bound can get through their college level course in that first year. So we're looking at doing a co-requisite model. So they would be doing the skills in Math 141, the pre-calculus course, but then as needed, we would fill in the content that they would have covered in Math 99, because so much of it is overlapping for those students. So they would have a co-requisite that goes with that. So those are coming next year. A lot of changes because of our grant that we're working on, the Pathways grant. Most questions you could ask any of the math faculty, myself, or Dawn, Jason, any of those. But if you have a question about the high school transfer agreement or the placement test, it's usually best to contact Dawn. She's the one that did all the work with the local high schools, so she's very familiar with that. If it's a placement test issue, it's also usually best to go through her. That's usually what happens. Someone calls me and, well, I'm going to have to find out. So we contact Dawn. If Angel can take care of it, he will for sure. And they contact each other back and forth all the time.